Fox 4's Bella Line standing here in front of Interstate 75, where an aircraft went down on February 9th, just 3 miles short of the Naples airport. But Tuesday's NTSB release of the preliminary report shows that the pilots only had seconds from when they got those first warnings of engine failure to having to land the plane here on the interstate. I spoke with a Florida pilot and educator, and he says that this report reveals the heroic acts of both the pilots and the flight attendants.
At this point, really, it would be speculation to say much more, but these are the possibilities that that are out there.
Nearly 3 weeks ago, this plane crash changed lives forever, and now the NTSB is working through the evidence. A task that Captain Shimamquist says will take years to figure out. But with the released preliminary report, we see the chain of events.
We're clear to land, but we're not going to make the runway. We've lost both engines.
The report says 1 minute and 14 seconds. That's how long the pilots had from the first warning to the tower losing contact as the plane crash landed on I-75.
In terms of flying a multi-engine jet aircraft that are extremely reliable, it is not part of something that we're normally thinking about. That said, the pilots would very quickly revert to that primary training that they had.
A decision the pilots made knowing they had to land somewhere and wouldn't have enough power or altitude to reach the airport.
They aimed for what was going to be the location where they could minimize the risk to people on not only on board the airplane, but also people on the ground.
With Captain Momquist pointing to a measure of control on the failing aircraft.
They did avoid something that is unfortunately common in some of these events, which is let the aircraft get too slow and then lose control before hitting the ground. If they had done that, then everybody would have been lost for sure. These pilots did a good job. There's no way around it.
He also noted the actions of the flight attendant, who saw fire blocking all of the exits but guided 2 passengers out of a baggage compartment in the back of the plane.
Corporate airplanes are not required to have somebody with that kind of skill set, and they were extremely fortunate that this company and this operator chose to do that.
How common is it for it to be at the end of the duration of the flight versus the beginning? When do you commonly see a crash happen?
Well, that's what makes it a bit puzzling because if there was fuel contamination, normally we see that pretty early in the flight, not late on the flight.
That's the overall point of what happened that Friday. The pilots used their training in hopes to limit the loss of life, even as they lost their own. Reporting in Naples, I'm Bella Line, Fox 4.